Welcome to the Featured Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we are talking about a recommendation from Goose, and that is the Saga of Tanya the Evil. Very much welcomed recommendation, as it was one that we both really loved and enjoyed. Without even having to really talk about it, I already know it's one that we both really loved and enjoyed. But before that, we were talking about how live-action TV shows, at least for us and our viewpoints anyways, there's nothing really original anymore, hence why we love anime so much, or just another reason why we love anime so much. Talked about the patron-exclusive logo that we kind of been working on and showed off in our patron-only Discord channel. Got some wonderful feedback on there for it, too. And we talked about a plethora of other things. If you want to catch a part of that wide conversation, patreon.com/featured anime podcast. Again, $1 a month will get you access to that bonus content. And if you choose not to support us like that, and you choose to support us through other means, such as maybe buying the series that we're going to be talking about, we do have an affiliate link in our show notes for you. You click on that link and buy anything using that link. We do get a little bit of a kickback, and that is very much appreciated. Or you can also go to our own store, shop.featuredanimepodcast.com, and buy yourself some swanky swag there. And now onto the meat and potatoes. Saga of Tanya the Evil is 12 episodes long, aired from January 2017, March through 2017. Producers for it are Media Factory, ATX, and Sony. The studio for it is Studio Nut. Sourced off of a light novel. Genres for it are action, contemporary fantasy, which is a new one I haven't heard of, or at least no one really specifying before, fantasy in general, isekai, magic, and military.
I can see that, but yeah, the whole fantasy one, that's new to me.
Yeah, I mean, like, they had some other unique like themes, I want to say, kind of like tied to it, which was a little weird, but I felt like there wasn't a need to go and specifically highlight those. I feel like those are the core themes that I listed out. I thought contemporary fantasy would be unique and interesting to list off, so that's why I did.
Fair enough. I wonder if it just means like it's
contemporary, man.
History kind of thing.
It's contemporary. All right.
What's contemporary actually mean? I've heard of contemporary music, but I've never heard of contemporary anything else.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to ask. I'm not going to question. It is what it is. Fair enough. It is. Honestly, Saga of Tanya the Evil was such a nice, wonderful refresher for me personally. I really enjoyed watching it. And the fact that it's unique in that, so like Overlord, where Overlord is an anti-hero, where they are the anti-hero, Tanya in this series is kind of in the same boat, I would say. She is the anti-hero in the traditional sense that, you're fighting good versus evil. And what's actually happening here, and where the isekai portion of it comes from, is before she came to this world, she was a businessman, followed the rules, was kind of very heartless, had all sorts of personality complexes. And when he fired someone, they pushed him onto railroad tracks, and time freezes, and God, or the person he refers to as being X after that point, says basically, he's tired of people not having faith, and lists all these problems, and decides to use him as an experiment, but at the same time chooses to allow him to retain his memories.
Yep.
So, and it's not that he is all powerful. It is, he's just particularly gifted, and he's put in situations where he's kind of forced into a particular mindset, I want to say.
Is that how you took it?
Well, I'm trying
I never
to be
thought
nice.
his mindset changed.
Well, that's what being X is trying to do. They're trying to force a particular mindset. They're trying to force him to have faith, and instead of it having the effect, it's forcing him into a completely different mindset where he is totally out to just kill him whenever he wants, right? Or not wants, but gets to. And it's not that he's, able to use magic anytime, right? At least he's able to use magic at any point in time. However, the more powerful gem or magic crystal that he's given is basically blessed or had a miracle. I'm going to use air quotes on this, miracle performed on it, because that is what Being X said. And in order for him to be able to use that more advanced magic crystal, he has to pray. And so Being X is hoping that by forcing him to pray, he will start, or Tanya will start to develop that faith. Because part of their original conversation before they got transported into the world, was it's only by weak people in poor conditions that are forced or look to God or faith, which is his viewpoint. And so they're like, all right, Being X is like, okay, I'm going to put that to the test. Puts him in that. And instead of it having the desired effect, it makes him angrier, makes Tanya even angrier towards Being X. And they have this heated exchange, which causes them to that point to where I'm gonna do this, and you're gonna be forced to pray to me every single time, and we're gonna see if that forces you to do it. And then it effectively, progressively, every time that they have this encounter, it escalates to where Being X is trying to force Tanya into developing the faith or developing that reliance on him.
It doesn't really work out that way, though, unfortunately.
No, but that's what Being X is really, really trying for. Being X is, he really, really wants Tanya to develop that faith.
And what I found quite interesting personally with this whole Being X controversy, let's call it, was Tanya was essentially forced through no free will of their own to call on the god whenever they used the brand new prototype. And the prototype was only placed there because the mad scientist who she got stuck with because her aptitude was so high was an avid believer in God after he received a vision on how to better operate his machinery.
Right, which is why I had said, that the miracle was cast on the magic stone that they're using.
But so originally, I wouldn't say the bet, but the test was, well, only poor people and unfortunate people seek out God.
Right, which is, again, what I had stated before, too.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
and
what you didn't say was that God put him in that specific situation to begin with.
Yeah, I did.
As an orphan who lost both parents.
Well, I didn't say the orphan lost both parents, but I did state that he's putting him in those situations, and now he's forcing him to pray to see if that helps influence it. And then he's putting him in even dire straits by having everyone go after him, everyone attack him, to try and develop that need or dependence on him. Because even towards the end of the series, he says, how does it feel to have the whole world against you? How does it feel to have that? Because he's trying to force someone that is so steadfast, who is so bullheaded in their refusal to acknowledge Being X, is doing everything in their power to put them against her.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you ever find out what the main motivation was, or did you recognize what Tanya's main motivation was the entire show? Literally,
yeah, she only talked about it every episode. I'll be able to sit on the back lines, easy track through life, and just be able to coast. Like, no interest in actually going out and doing the grunge work or anything like that. It's just how it ends up working out every single time.
Every time. The only thing that even in before, like when they were still a man in corporate life, they said very blatantly that it's always nice to be able to blame a superior for having to either fire someone or it takes the responsibility off of you, which was a huge reason why a lot of things happened in World War II. At least that was the reasoning that a lot of people gave. Like, oh, my supervisor told me to do it. I was just following orders. Right. That kind of thing.
Yeah, but they
And
also
I found it
highlighted rules too. Like as long as you just follow the rules, it'll be the easiest and quickest way to rise the ranks. So that way you can, have the easy life. And that more so was Tanya's large focus was following the rules. So that way you could just ride the easy train, try and not cause waves, try and not cause all these problems or issues. Just do what you're supposed to do. Follow the rules. The rules say listen to me. Guess what? The rule says listen to me. You're going to listen to me.
Ideally.
So,
but
yeah,
that wasn't the case.
Yeah, that was the main focus though. Didn't want to be on the front lines, wanted to be on the back lines, wanted to have a nice, easy, cushy desk job, and did not work out every single time.
So whenever life came through, that was literally the only thing that Tanya wanted. They just wanted to not have to do shit. And it was quite funny to me because they realized the only way not to do shit is to do a lot of shit. Like to work your ass off so that you had the opportunity not to. And it just, for whatever reason, always screwed up, always failed, always did something that wasn't quite right. And eventually, I feel like this is World War I. Eventually, once we get a season 2, I can see Tanya becoming the leader and being forced to do a bunch of stuff, kind of getting too high in the ladder. You know what I mean?
Well, obviously the higher in the ladder they are, the less frontline work they have to do.
And they're more removed.
Right. Which ultimately is what she wants. She doesn't want to be on the front line. She wants to be far removed from it. She wants to have the easy life. She wants to have a desk job.
Now, one of the things that annoyed me about this anime, to the point of trying to rationalize why this wasn't a thing, there's magic here, right?
Yes.
Obviously.
There's
massive amounts of magic, and people are talented or not talented. You have grunts, you have mages. And all. Was there any healing magic you ever saw? Was magic used for anything other than offense? I mean, flying, yes, I know, but they used flying to get closer to the enemy so they could fire.
Defensive barriers.
Were there any non-combat related uses for magic?
Besides the defensive barriers and flying?
I mean, you have to fly to fight. You have the defense to stop an aggressor. So non-combative.
Well, the defense would be the non-combative.
You would need it for combat.
No, not necessarily. The same thing for flying.
Okay. Do they use magic for anything other than combat?
That's the right question. No, but then again, we're not looking at the everyday life. Also, the technology and science that go behind the crystals and the development of it make them kind of imperative to be able to use. And everything has to deal more so with formulas. So you have to be able to have some kind of level of intellect to be able to properly use it as well.
Well, the thing that Cotton got me thinking is they were able to put magic around knives, specifically their bayonet.
Right.
Bayonet.
And
easily slice through skin, metal, everything like that. I'm surprised they didn't try to put something towards medical, something towards healing, something towards making regular life easier.
To be fair, we were only looking at the soldier's perspective, not the medical perspective or anyone else's
this is true.
Perspective. We don't know anyone else that would specialize in it or the reasoning as to why they wouldn't be able to do magical healing, right?
This is true.
Because they also said that they also, and to my other point, right, is they did a magic synthesized voice and they did an illusion with magic as well.
All right, so there are other features. The illusion that you see, do you think that you can create light, illusionary or otherwise?
Probably.
So why, when she's having conversations with higher ups that are obviously far higher than she is, why are the rooms so dim? Why aren't they using, let's say, a crap magician to power their lights so they don't use all the candles?
Because not everyone's able to use magic, and they specifically state those who are talented or able to use magic are not plentiful. And so even the thought process, so the idea behind it would be like, oh, let's let's use obviously someone who has some kind of magical aptitude instead of putting them on the front line, have them light up houses. No, they're going to use it for the war, for the military.
I'm just saying, like, obviously, if you're talented in magic or you're not.
But again, we're focusing or trying to focus on things that we don't know, because that wasn't the focus of the anime. The focus of the anime was Tanya and fighting, not trying to figure out how to help people. It's how to crush the enemy in the most effective way possible.
That's fair. Although I took it as a futile effort to be lazy. And I figured she was, at the time, incredibly talented with magic, which should, in theory, lend to a little bit better life of luxury when she's in the office, let's say. She'd be able to use stuff like that. We never see it. I get that. But
you're talking on hypotheticals and ways to try and figure out how it is. Well, it doesn't need to make sense to you. Like, that's the thing. You need to stop focusing in on, like, oh, well, why didn't they do this? Might not exist, might not matter. She doesn't care. That's not the primary focus. Her primary focus is to be able to live. And, oh, gee, I can heal someone else. Let me spend all this time trying to figure out how I can heal someone else when I am being told I have to do this is not going to be an effective use of her time. And it goes against what her superiors want, which would be
true fighting,
following the orders, following the laws, following the rules, which is what she is told to do.
Except in the latter part when she takes command for herself.
True. However, that was more of a reactionary measure because she knows what will end up happening and she knows what being X is ultimately going to do.
My point for the healing idea was it would make her heal better, faster, and just in general be able to follow orders better.
Yeah, but that would probably mean that she would have to entirely refocus and go through a different subset of training in a world that may not even be a possibility, right? They may not
That's true.
be able to affect life forms in that manner, because for them to fly, they have to have a mechanical piece of equipment to help them fly. They are able to use magic with mechanical or inanimate objects in the sense that they can give it extra power or boost it, but beyond that, not do anything else. And you never see
that's a very good point.
A situation where any of that comes up other than the illusionary factor of it.
Yeah, you would essentially need a secondary conduit to use the magic, to harness the magic that is innate. That makes sense.
And they did talk a lot about formulas. Like it's like I superimpose formulas on the world so that way I can bend it to my will or whatever it is. So that way I can fly or however they want to. Right. So
I don't remember that part, but it makes sense that they're there simply because when she starts using God's magic, it ends up putting gears in her eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's like that for everyone too, but that's also what she says. She's like, I was able to easily adapt to it because all I had to do was impose formulas that I know on it.
Interesting.
And you can only use magic with those stones too. You really have to remember that. And those stones are created and experimented and developed by the military.
This is also true. Now, does that mean that when she's firing those bullets, are they magic bullets or are they things that she imbues with magic because of the machine she has on them?
Imbues with magic. You can see that they imbue the rifle at that time with magic. She's not imbuing it later on with magic. Although you do see a case where someone imbues it beforehand with magic to make it easier for them to be able to fire it. But he had a lot of time to be able to do that, and he had a very specific weapon to be able to do that with.
True. But I just assumed, this is just me being me, when she's praying to God, she doesn't really have a formula in mind. She's granted a formula by God. And I love the fact that she's praying ironically, because she doesn't believe, but in order to use the power, she has to offer a prayer.
Well, it's not that she's being granted the formula. She knows the magic that she wants to use. She has to pray to be able to use the stone so that way the magic can be used.
You'd figure if everyone knows that kind of magic, or if it's teachable, why wouldn't everybody use the nuclear explosion that she basically uses every time?
Because the stone that she uses is experimental, and the amount of magic that she has is higher than a normal person's, which allows her to be able to use it. But even that is inexhaustible.
So the magic she has is inexhaustible.
No, it isn't inexhaustible. She will eventually.
Gotcha.
Like everyone
She'll
starts
run out.
running low on magic. So that's part of the problems and drawbacks too. And they even like her, God, what's her name? I can't remember her name. Not Tanya.
You're having a Rick moment.
The
sidekick with blue eyes.
Yeah, Victoria. Yeah, she.
Yep.
You see that she starts falling down because she starts getting low or weak on magic, and same thing with like the first lieutenant when she becomes in charge of her own battalion. There's a couple points where he starts getting low on magic, and same thing with other people. And it's also commented several times too that is also an effect, a side effect, so to speak.
That makes sense. I wonder if praying to God will reinvigorate your original supply. Let's say you ran low, right?
If that were the case, they would do that, and that would have been a major plot point, but that wasn't it. It was only to be able to use it, and he specifically told Tanya, in order for you to be able to use the magic, to use the stone, you have to pray. Because
that makes sense.
The one that she was wearing was, quote unquote, blessed or had a miracle performed on it.
So thinking along those lines, would that mean the other guy that was blessed was using a special thing as well? Or he was just overloading the stuff?
Are you talking about?
The guy that God blessed after the fact, like
right.
The one-eyed man.
Uh-huh.
He didn't have an experimental gem, did he?
Probably did, just not the one that they were using. But he was probably blessed with a little bit more magic and willing to kill himself too. So,
Okay. Not something I understand, but that works.
Yep. I mean, do you have any other hypothesis or anything else you want to get off your chest, sir?
None that'll stand being shot down. I got plenty of theories, but none of them are accurate, and a lot of them have the wonderful ability of having a shit ton of holes because I haven't really thought them through.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I was just wondering, just asking because you know what, man, and you never know.
Maybe further on when we keep talking about it, it might trigger something else because I thought of a bunch of shit.
Okay.
That would either make the lore a little bit more beautiful or a little more full, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Who knows? Maybe all my answers would be solved in the movie.
You never know.
Because there is a movie.
Or season 2.
Yes, there is a movie.
Right. Yes. Which we did not watch and we will not be talking about today.
Other than to say they exist.
Yes, obviously. And season 2 will exist soon, hopefully. I do like the character dynamic and the overall artwork for this series as well. You can tell, like, in general, that Tanya is all the cylinders are not firing with her. The way she looks, the way she acts, and everything like that. She is not firing on all cylinders, and rightly so. I mean, like, there's a very good reason as to why that is. I'm not gonna try and deny that, but like the overall mentality and viewpoint and I want to say really kind of plays a big part in it. And they do, so this is taking place during World War I. They do specifically state too, and they give reason as to why Tanya's able to join the military, despite the fact that she's only a child and she's been in the military for a couple of years. So you do get an accurate timeline. By the time the season 1 ends, she's 12 years old, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 13. But
I have no clue.
But they do specifically state the reason why that even though she's a child, and even though there are women in the military in World War I, which was not a thing in our real world, aside from the magic not existing in our real world either, wasn't a thing back in World War I, is because they're able to join, even though they're children, even though they're women, because they have magic. And that was like magic. Being able to use magic was such a finite resource. People being able to use it was just so far and few in between. They're like, we don't care how old you are. We don't care what gender you are or anything like that. You can use magic. You're in. No questions. No ifs, ands, or buts. You're in. If that dog over there that's sitting down on that corner that's, chewing on grass, he could use magic. You bet your ass he'd be in the military too. That cat too. That rat that's over there. Yep. Them too. They'd be in it too. So
Well, I mean, if you take a look at the mental state that you were referring to earlier, no one in our history who spoke to God had had everything firing according to the records. You know what I mean? And they were all, if it was became public knowledge, they were all ostracized. So this makes perfect sense here that it just doesn't seem normal. And she's not fighting a war; she's fighting being X.
Right. However, I would claim that viewpoint is debatable.
It's personal.
And personal.
It's just me.
It is just you. So, and we'll leave it at that. But sticking to the anime, we will definitely agree that she is off her rocker for sure. Because
well, I mean, you would be too if you're fighting not just God, but people trying to kill you sent by God.
Or being X, as she keeps referring to them.
Yes.
Being X.
Whereas everyone else is believing being X is their God.
Exactly. Right.
So, and nothing in this anime, nothing is more fervent than a true believer. For instance,
well, the same thing was
had his dream.
Right.
He ended up saying, "I'm putting myself in danger just like everybody else is, because if you go and explode, we're killing it all. So you're either going to pray or I'm dead."
Well, the scientists didn't say that. Scientists no. Scientists didn't say that you're going to pray or we're dead. Scientists had no.
Well, you'll make it work.
The scientists didn't even. Yeah, he just said you're going to make it work or you're not. But that's about it. Didn't say anything about prayer. Didn't say anything about praying.
That's fair. That is fair. He didn't say anything about praying. But as he walked away, he goes, "So that God does exist, and I'm so happy he does. This miracle is a true thing."
Right,
so
but that had
believer.
more to do with the revelation of it being God wills it, and he had that belief or view beforehand, before the success of it.
I don't remember him saying anything about God or anything prior to that.
No, he was talking about it because she specifically said before she prayed, before it happened, she was like, "You're a scientist. Why you believe?" And he's like, "I had this vision," and blah 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 blah, and was talking about it. Like he had the whole thing before she prayed, before she made it work.
True. Prior to that experiment, I didn't hear him talking about any kind of deity.
No, I wasn't talking about prior to the experiment. I was talking about prior to her praying.
Okay, I was talking about prior to the experiment.
Oh, in general, before the final main hoorah of the experiment. Yeah, no, she kept calling it a defective junk, and he kept telling her, "No, it's not, and you need to take that back." Granted, the experiment ended up being a success despite it being shut down. We don't know the full effects of it being shut down or anything like that beyond that, but
I'm still amazed that she was able to survive such drastic falls
or explosions, right?
That too. It feels like her cup runneth dry several times in prior experiments.
Well,
like she lost control, it exploded.
So part of the equipment that they're wearing also have like safety measures and things like that. So I feel like those played a part of her being able to survive. Like there were probably some safety measures or things on there to make it so that way she could survive in the event of something like that happening.
I don't think we ever saw anything like that. And the scientists specifically chose her because she was durable.
No, didn't choose her because she was durable. She was chosen because of her status and the position she was put in. It was part of her job. Not necessarily that
I'm 90%
chose her.
Sure the scientist said something like, "I'm hoping I get a toy that doesn't break."
He said, "You're a perfect candidate because you have such a large amount of magic."
I would argue that he did it because she was durable, not because she had a large amount of magic.
Everyone has been blown up, stabbed, or shot. It had nothing to do with durability. And as far as the safety measures, she even tried clicking the safety measure on the medallion, trying to disable it so that way she wouldn't blow up. And it was disabled via miracle. But there were also other ways for her to be able to release the energies and magics and safety measures that were also on there. And it was shown prior to that point as well, saying, like, here's the safety measures so that way you don't blow up. And she thought she did the safety measures beforehand and it did not immediately blow up. And she gave a sigh of relief and then blew up. It's not like he went, "Oh, you're a 10-year-old and you're durable. Can you survive a kick to the face?" Sold. It's like, no, it's like you have magic. You have a plentiful amount of magic. So let's do this. And her comment was like, as part of my job in this position, it is natural that I have to do this.
agree to disagree because I'm not quite sure that's quite how it went.
Actually, I remember it, but that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, like you're focusing on a lot of the minute and weird random details. So
that's what fell out to me. That's what stuck out. I wasn't really. I had seen it before, but for lack of a better way to put it, my rediscovery of this was quite nice. But I don't remember a lot of things that went on, and I actually watched it with somebody else who didn't watch anime at all, and he was enthralled, loved every second of it, was hooked on the first hooked on the first episode, and we powered through it in the last 2 days.
Okay, yeah, I'll agree.
So,
I agree. It was very wonderful. I enjoyed rewatching it. The artwork, again, going back to the artwork, the details for it were just great. The flow of it was just truly wonderful. I love the even the smallest of random details too. So given the height and everything like that, they definitely, like, when trying to point out, would show her standing on a tippy toe, trying to be professional, but at the same time, it's like, I am like 3 feet tall. Bear with me. Try and point out something high up on the map.
yeah, no, it was great. I loved a lot of what was going on with that, specifically because they kept it in not reality, but like they kept it with everything that had her height, her age, everything. Everyone treated her as such until they talked to her, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to treat you like an adult." And it was quite funny when she couldn't reach something and somebody else would grab it and then not care at all about her because, again, she is just a regular adult that nobody would normally help.
What?
So specifically regarding the book, when she was in the library reaching for the book, I forget what his name is.
The general. Yeah, but it's not that he didn't grab it because he didn't care. He grabbed it because he wanted her attention and to talk to her.
Did he ever give it back to her? Like whatever she was trying to get?
Don't know, but that wasn't the focus of the scene.
That's what I took away from it, that he was treating her like a regular person rather than...
Well, yeah, of course he would. He wanted to pick her brain, but it's not a matter of, the whole premise of the scene was whether or not she gets the book.
It had nothing to do with that.
But that's what you're focusing on. It's like, no, he grabbed the book and got her attention. That's what she wanted. It had nothing to do with people treating her like that. It's like, you're a child. Yes, but you have very interesting viewpoints, and I hear a lot of interesting things about this. And then you made your name very widely known, and you've had all these accomplishments. Let's talk. Regardless of your age or anything like that, you would immediately be like, yeah, let's talk on that. Let's figure this out. It's not like they just gave her the rank, gave her the position, put her where she is willy-nilly just because. There were reasons she made herself very distinguished to be able to stand out.
Well, she absolutely earned her rank. So, but again, by following orders, simply just trying to get better,
Right.
So, I really don't know how much more we can go on about it because without season 2, well, one thing I found quite interesting was they didn't really change too many of the flags, and the fatherland is obviously like German because of the flag. But
when you're looking at the map, there's obviously Great Britain, there's Italy, there's Europe. I mean, they changed the name. It's meant to be a parallel world to ours. I mean, like, they even called the final scene in it United States.
Correct. But they also said that Britannia owned the states.
Right, and Britannia.
Quite odd.
I don't remember them specifically stating that, but that's neither here nor there.
Okay.
They did state that there were a lot of colonies that they owned, but I don't remember them specifically stating the U.S.
Overseas.
Yeah, well, there's still colonies overseas that are owned or controlled by other countries to this day.
That could be. I've never heard of them referenced as such, but that's just me using my personal experience.
As colonies?
Yep. I know the 13 colonies of the United States. Beyond that, I'm not quite sure if there's any other colonies.
There are a lot of other colonies. There's colonies in South America, and then we call them here in the U.S. We don't call them colonies. We call them U.S. territories.
That makes
Puerto
sense.
Rico. It's a U.S. territory. It's not technically a colony, but it's a territory because how we want to label it.
All right.
All right. So I agree with you. I feel like this is a great place for us to kind of wrap it up, sir. So on a scale of up to 10, how would you rate this?
I give this a solid 9.
Reason?
I got no, like, my reason, everything about it was on point and seemed proper. Everything about this seemed like it was very well done. It was very thought out, beautiful at times, and had an amazing flow. Animation style was on point. The ruthlessness was consistent throughout. The character didn't deviate, in my opinion, from when they were in the previous life. All they wanted was an easy life. And they understood that in order to get that easy life, you had to do a lot of dirt to do it. You had to get through a lot of your bullshit, a lot of the troubles that you had to go through. Like, to get to retirement, you got to deal with a lot of people in your lifetime. And she was trying to streamline that so that she can be retired by, 5-6 years from then.
Right.
And the best way to do that was to be a avid soldier, which, in my opinion, was accomplished very easily.
So this is all contributing to your 9?
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure. I thought I was fine with, like, the story and music were great. The artwork was wonderful. The story was blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, I'm going to focus in on the scene. Hang on one second.
No, why wouldn't it contribute to my 9? You feel like?
Well, like you said, you had nothing else you could really talk about. Then you found more stuff to talk about.
You were quiet and looking at me expectantly, so I kept going to.
I was waiting for you to finish.
My reason for 9.
I was waiting for you to finish.
It was like a 4-second wait. And you're just looking at me like,
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like when you said 9, yeah, that was that 4-second wait. So I can understand the confusion. I also give it a 9. Artwork, story was great. Loved the music for it, for the little bits that were in there. The anti-hero portion of it was also a great for me as well. I really loved it, and I'm really looking forward to the movie and the season 2. And I love how they ended it. It was like a kind of like a closure, but open closure, so that way they could easily come back to it, which was nice.
I agree.
All right. Next week's choice. It is a recommendation called Summertime Rendering, which is a recommendation by Red Cinity from our Discord channel. So we're looking forward to that. I personally have not seen it. I know nothing about it other than that it is 25 episodes long. So start watching it now, please.
I can do that.
Right on. Well, that's all that we have for today. If you feel like we got something right, something wrong, did it too much justice, not enough justice, just plain all being ridiculous like we usually are, which is understandable. We like being ridiculous. Feel free to reach out to us. featuredanimepodcast.com is where you can find all our contact information. We also have it all listed for you in the show notes as well. If you want to hear some of the pre and post show content that we usually do, patreon.com/featuredanimepodcast. $1 a month will get you access to that bonus content. If you want to support us through other means, we do have an affiliate link for Right Stuff Anime where you can go buy the series of what we just talked about today, the Saga of Tanya the Evil. And anything, honestly, you buy using that link, we will get a little bit of a kickback. It would be very much appreciated if you do. Or you could buy some of our swanky swag at shop.featuredanimepodcast.com. And until next time, I'm Jack.
I'm Rick. And we'll see you next time.